Hi friends, good morning. And in this video, we'll talk about the data, and this data is related to the settlement model. And if you are interested to study the settlement, the urbanization processes, and the urban morphology, and different aspects of the settlements with the help of JS. So this video will help you a lot, and this data is a wonderful data. And the source of this video is a report which was published by the Joint Research Center, the European Commission's Science and Knowledge Service. I'm Dr. Zubairul Islam, working in the Department of Geography at Igrat University. So let's begin. So I am open with my software ArcMap. The left-hand side is the table of content. I have already added the data, and the data is available into different, time. Here, the data which I have added is 2015. So let's have a look. This is the data, and if you will zoom in, you can zoom into here. Thereafter, you will find that this data will show you uh, the result like this. Basically, this is the raw data, and I have not done so far. Raw in the sense means this is the data. If you will download from the internet, then you will find the data like this. It is already, of course, processed by the scientists who are working with this data. So as you can understand, this is the raster data, and this data is having some values, and there are around 8 values, and these values ranges from 10, 11, 12, 13, 21, 22, 23, and 30. I have already written the values, what values stands for. So this is the 30. 30 stands for urban center, 23 stands for dense urban clusters, 22 semi-dense urban clusters, 21 suburban. So right from 21 to 30, these are the four classes which belongs to the urban settlement. Thereafter, there are three classes. The values are 11, 12, 13, and these three classes belongs to the rural area. You can understand 13 is rural cluster, 12 is low density rural, and 11 is very low density rural. So with the help of this data, you may have some basic information like what is the population density, because in each class, like urban center has different density from the suburban area, or from semi-dense urban cluster area. So with the help of this data, you may have the idea of the density, population density. You may have the idea of the, you can say, uh, the population size, how much, maybe 5,000, 50,000, something like that. And the third, uh, very important, what is the built up area, okay? In what percentage? Built up area above 50%, less than 50%, or less than 5%. So three information are very important. Number one, population density, you will get the information. Second is population size, and the third is the the percentage of built up area. As you can see here, the urban centers, this is the map of Addis Ababa, and here this dark brown color is showing the urban center. What is this urban center? Urban center, in the urban center, you can see here, first we are talking about the population density. So urban centers use population density of 1,500 inhabitants per square kilometer, and the cluster population size will be the 50,000 inhabitants. So this is the criteria. This is the basic criteria, and the which is 30. The value is 30 here. The second is urban clusters, and these are the areas where population density will be 300 inhabitants per square kilometer, and the cluster population size will be 5,000 inhabitants. So that is the dense urban cluster. You can see here the dark brown is urban center, and the red color is showing the dense urban cluster. And if we move change towards the rural area, then rural cluster. Okay, the rural cluster, here the population density will be 300 inhabitants per square kilometer, and the cluster population size will be only 500 inhabitants. In the rural area, the density is as uh, the dense urban centers, because rural areas are also dense areas if this is the settlement is compact, especially in the plain areas. And but there is a change in the population size, that is 500 inhabitants. In case of urban cluster, the population size was 5,000. In case of urban centers, the population size was uh, 50,000. 50,000 cluster, one cluster. Okay, so it may have more clusters, so above 50,000 inhabitants. So this was about the population density, and there are some, very low density rural areas, low density rural areas. So all these details you can see with the help of the you can see the guide, and in the guide you will find all this information very well. And another, basic criteria, that is the percentage share of the built up area. So the urban centers are set by adding to the basic criteria, with at least 50% of built up area surface. Whatever, the land is there, it should be used like 50%. Okay, 50% should be the built up area. So this assumption is useful for accommodating the presence, in the city of large area with low resident inhabitants, but strongly, the functionally linked with the city. For example, large productive or commercial areas. Uh, Typically, in the case of cities in the United States of America, as the basic criteria defines the urban center to be fully contained into urban clusters. And the application of this 50% rule would break this hierarchy. This assumption extends the urban cluster domain to the uh, to contain the urban centers. Okay, so here this is the case, means this is the generalization. What is the generalization will be done here is the clusters of the urban centers set by the density cutoff value. It is especially generalized by the iterative majority filtering the process done with the kernel of 3 by 3 kilometer. So in those areas within the urban centers, the parameters after the smoothing are filled if they are smaller than 15 square kilometer in surface. So the effect of this assumption is that the urban centers as derived from the input grids are more compact and simple in shape, then easier to translate to GIS polygon entities. So because the urban centers, if the size is huge, urban area, urban center size is huge, the large size urban centers, so somewhere you will find that there are some areas where there is some kind of the green spaces, and maybe the water bodies. So such type of uh, there is a smoothing or gap filling method is also applied in the urban centers. So here, each class has its own definition, and when you will read the report, you can learn more about the each class, like what is urban center, what is the dense urban clusters. In case of semi-dense urban cluster, you know, it's uh, if you will compare the urban center with dense urban cluster, uh, you know, in terms of density, the basic difference is the urban centers are the high density clusters. You can call HDC, while dense urban clusters are dense or medium clusters. Okay, and in case of the semi-dense urban clusters, which is not found around Addis Ababa, or it is not common in Ethiopia, maybe some in another parts. So what is this actually? This is a semi-dense urban cluster. Consist of So a semi-dense urban cluster consists of a contiguous grid cell, that is the four connectivity cluster, with a density of at least 300 inhabitants per square kilometer of the permanent land. A built-up surface share on permanent land greater than 3%, okay, 3%, and the inhabitant at least 5,000. So this is the semi-dense urban cluster. Another very important feature of semi-dense urban cluster is that it should be at least 3 kilometers away from the urban cluster. So we do not find the urban cluster like this around the Addis Ababa. But in case of the suburban or peri-urban grid cell, the all the other cells that belongs to the urban cluster but are not the part of urban center or dense urban cluster. So or semi-dense urban cluster. This will come under the category of suburban uh, grid cells. Okay, and thereafter there is rural cluster. There is low density rural cluster and very low density. You will see that very low density rural is found everywhere, because low density, the houses are found everywhere as a rural settlement. So you will find this light gray color. This is the color given by me. You can give any color, another appropriate color suitable for the rural settlement. And the very low density uh, is there, and low density, these are the rural grid cell with a density of at least 50 inhabitants per square kilometer, and are not the part of the rural cluster. Rural cluster, the population density is 300 inhabitants per square kilometer of permanent land. Okay, and has at least the 500 and less than 5,000 inhabitants in the cluster, because if it will exceed more than 5,000, it will go towards maybe the urban cluster. So this is as per the definition of the data producers, and these settlements are defined by different scholars differently, but here they have made the data, and when they are making the data they have to define the the classes also. So this is as per their definition. Okay, for more you can read the technical guides given with the data, and it will enhance your knowledge more. And because this is the data only, after this you can do a lot of GIS. And suppose if I am taking here Ethiopia regions, and a simple thing I want to know that the urban centers, in which region the urban center, what is the status. So I will take the tool here, and in this tool you can see, first of all, I want the urban centers only. I want to know about urban centers, so I will go to raster calculator, and the in the raster calculator I will choose this data, but because this data belongs to the whole world, it may take more time, so I will set the environment. In the environment processing extent, I want only Ethiolayer. Okay, and in the Ethiolayer, just give the condition that from 2015 settlement model, the value should be equal to 30. I want only the cluster urban centers. So do it one. Do it okay. You will find only the urban centers within Ethiopian extent. So here we have got the data, which is only the Ethiopian extent. And if you want to know that these urban centers in each zone, sorry, in each region, so you can go to the zonal statistics as a table here, and here this is the feature zones, and my feature zone is the region name one, and input raster will be the my urban centers, and do it okay, and you will find here as a result, you will find that of course the area is here Addis Ababa as much area urban centers of urban centers, and if you can sort it, the in Oromia as a whole, the all urban centers area is the highest, thereafter second is Amara, third is SNNP, fourth is Addis Ababa. And this difference is because of the area. If you will take the percentage, of course Addis Ababa will be the number one. Similarly, we can go for more spatial statistics analysis also. We can go for spatial pattern, we can go for hotspot, we can go for the the average distance, and we can do many more things related to the urban centers. So this is enough for now. In the next video we'll talk some another uh, spatial statistical analysis of the urban centers. Thank you very much.